Hi, my name is Kennedy. Some people call me Kenna. I am 26. I'm about to be 27 in August, and I'm chronically ill and permanently and pretty severely disabled. So I like to share my journey a lot because I hope that in me sharing it, it helps other people to not feel so alone, to just I don't know. I just want to help people, and I think that I would be so heartbroken if I went through all of the stuff that I've gone through to just not use that in a positive way. So if you want to know more details about my story, I do share a lot of that on my TikTok page. A lot of people have different things that happen to them, so but it's normally called a near-death experience when there is a situation where either there is no pulse, no breathing, things like that. And everybody has a different experience, but what I've noticed that when I look into it, a lot of people have almost a similar experience, and it was so weird because I didn't really talk about what happened for a long time. I said that I knew something did happen, but just being sick and everything that I was going through, I didn't want to share at that point. And I didn't want to look into it because it scared me. But also felt lots of peace and stuff. But I mean, like I said, of it. So the first time it happened, so this happened to me 8 times in 3 months. Then they placed a trach, which is this, and I woke up from surgery, and yeah, that was a whole different story. But what I've been told now, and I'm not a medical professional, do not take anything I say as medical advice, medical knowledge, anything like that. I am just talking about my own personal experience within this situation. But if I make a mistake when it comes to saying medical things, I am so sorry, but that's not what this is about. This, and I don't really want to get too much into the medical part of it because I feel like I want to share the spiritual part of the stuff that happened. So first time, what I don't remember the first time it happening, but I remember having in a weird, now I don't want to say a fever dream, but I'm going to describe something, and if you haven't had the similar experience, so I don't know how to explain it differently. But if you've ever taken too much cough medicine on mistake, or too much Benadryl, anything like that, even not too much to overdose or anything, but maybe a little too much for what your tolerance is or whatever, and you fall asleep, but you're waking up, you're restless, but you're asleep, and you're in that weird dream state. Or if you have surgery and you're waking up after the surgery in recovery, and you're kind of aware, but you're still in a dream-like state, and you feel kind of trapped. That is the experience I had the first time. And what was told to me after is that our body is always constantly trying to make sense of the stimuli that's happening, and our brain is going to make up whatever situation it needs to be able to explain it. So things that happen to the body, your brain tries to make sense of sometimes. So one thing major that I remember from the first time is I remember thinking in my head, wow, I am so sick that I'm actually stressing my dad out to the point that he is started to smoke again. When I was growing up, my dad did smoke, but he has since quit and hasn't smoked in a long time, as far as I know. I don't know, y'all dig that up with him. But growing up, that was the case, and he would always go outside, and we had an alarm chirp when the doors would open growing up. And for most people, well, I mean not most people, I'm truly blessed. I have a very good relationship with my dad, but when I would wake up in the night and I would hear that chirp and the outside noise and my dad's voice, I would be oh, my dad's awake, and I'd feel comfortable to go back to sleep and stuff, because it was a peaceful thing, oh yeah, I a comfort, I don't know. Anyway, so I remember thinking, oh wow, my dad's smoking when I was a kid, I know I must be so sick that I'm stressing him out, because in my head I heard a door opening. I heard my dad's voice, and I heard wind sounds, and my brain put together that my dad was smoking on the hospital balcony. First off, hospitals don't have balconies like that, at least mine doesn't. Two, my dad would not be, like, going in and out smoking in a balcony even there was one. And, like, my dad doesn't smoke anymore, but my brain was trying to make sense of what was happening. So my dad was visiting, and my mom had a phone playing wind noises to, like, keep the room calm and stuff. That's what they say to, like, help people sometimes. And so my brain put together wind noise, my dad's voice, and me being sick, and made that scenario up in my head. That's when I remember. I remember being, like, trapped. One point I remember that I was literally, it was like, I don't even think I've ever actually said this out loud before, but it was like a terrifying dream. I was, like, stuck in this house, and it was like this, like, creature-y, really scary thing, and they were, like, grabbed onto me, and I was, like, spinning around. I was trying to get them off of me. No matter what I did, they would not come off of me, and I was like, and that one was really scary. That's all I can really talk about it, because if I go into detail, I'm gonna freak myself back out. Like, I can't. That one was really scary. Another one is that for some reason, my brain, I was like, oh, I moved into an apartment, and the bathroom, well, like, it was a small apartment, and the kitchen was, like, this big, and then there was, like, in the kitchen was, like, a shower and a toilet, but, like, it was all mixed in one, and somebody was cooking, like, on the stove with grease. You know how it goes, like, pop, 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 and, like, you know, they always say to, like, men, don't ever be shirtless when you're cooking with grease, because it could, like, pop up and, like, burn you. And she kept being like, Kennedy, breathe, honey, breathe, breathe, breathe. And then I was, like, somewhere in there, but basically I had wrote, or I had signed, or I said, like, not with my mouth, but, like, some nonverbal way. I said, I'm trying, you're so annoying, or, like, leave me alone, she's so annoying. Which is, like, true sibling thing, right? Like, of course our siblings annoy us, and we love them and everything. And it's funny, because then they were like, Kennedy's still there, you know, because making jokes. I'm like, dang, I'm trying. Like, you know, it's like, breathe, breathe. And I'm like, oh, what do you think I'm doing? I've been only doing this 2 freaking days. You know, that TikTok sound. That's kind of, like, what it reminded me of. So, like, there's things like that. Of course, there's a lot I don't remember, probably. I remember, also, I was, like, felt like I was in a VR video game, and I was in a VR game, kind of, but I was on a moped thingy. Whatever that thing is that, like, you stand on it, and you go, it's like a scooter thing. I don't know. I'll try to find the name of it. I was on that, but I was in a bear costume chasing children. I don't know why. That was one of my things. Oh, no. One of them is that I was also working in, like, a, Mexican food truck, and I was, like, selling tacos and nachos and stuff. I kept getting this awful taste of, like, stale, like, tortilla, like, I don't know how to explain it. And it was, like, and I was trapped in there, and I was, like, kind of, like, having to serve. It was, like, one of those video games when we were younger, where you, like, make the smoothies, and it's, like, doo-doo-doo, and, like, you can't, like, that's the whole thing. That's what I felt like. And after I was, like, awake a little bit later, when you're intubated, oral care is important, and there's, like, a special thing to, like, clean your mouth and your teeth, to, like, prevent them from breaking down in cavities. And later on, I used that when I was not, I was awake. And I was like, oh my god, this tastes like a stale Dorito-y, nacho-y thingy. Like, what is this? Turns out they used that same when I was intubated. So I was tasting this thing, and my brain was making up a story to go along with it, that I was, like, working in a food truck eating, like, tortillas, like, that you know, your brain is crazy, and the things are crazy. Like, how our body can do that, I honestly don't know. So, like, that was one of them. One of them was, like, I was on a date with Shrek. Also, guys, like, Shrek is a big part of all of this, like, within my hallucinations, like, when I was in a coma, all this stuff, so stay tuned for that. But Shrek's, like, my favorite movie ever. But basically, you know, in the beginning of Shrek, when he is, like, he like, uses his earwax to make a candle when he's eating dinner, that we were on a first date, and, like, we talked so long that the candle had burned down, and he was like, I'm out of earwax, I need to take yours. And I was like, this is a first date, you cannot have my earwax.